Okay, so before I go on to the kidneys, I just want to go back to the heart and where you're going to see those intense heart symptoms. Uh, I would be giving, I would be giving a 200C potency because they're intense, they're very serious, and it would call for a higher potency. In those instances, you would give a 200C potency. Now, with the head and any kind of head trauma where you're seeing the mental functioning impaired, again, a higher potency would be required because it's serious. And in those cases, I would give a 1M potency. Okay. So back to the kidneys. Arnica, we're seeing lots of pain. So you're going to see pain in the kidneys after some kind of trauma or a mechanical injury. So it could be a cutting pain in the kidneys or a piercing pain. Kidneys and bladder are all part of the urinary system. So you could see some symptoms in the bladder with dribbling urine. Again, there's that constant urging, which may not be productive. They might have to wait a long time before they pass any urine. And you're going to see some blood in the urine, most probably. And it would be, could be dark blood, so it's old blood, or it could be bright red blood, which is new blood. And this bloody urine is because of mechanical injuries. The urine's often in small quantities. It could be very yellow and brown in colour. Red urine with liver complaints, you're seeing blood in the urine. Scanty, so in short supply, again, red because there's blood, could be offensive in smell. Perhaps you might see brown, clear urine, and that would be old blood, and that could become whitish and cloudy. So back to the limbs, there's been some trauma, some injury, their limbs are sore, they feel bruised, they feel beaten, they're sore, could be due to overexertion, may feel sprained or dislocated, it could feel lame, there could be some paralysis, they don't want you to touch them, they don't want you to approach them, they feel achy, as if beaten. And it can be accompanied with pain in the back as well as any limb that might have been affected, because there's a lot of back pain with arnica. Everything on which they lie seems too hard. So like that fairy tale, The Princess and the Pea, even the comfortable bed and all those mattresses, you could feel the pea. They feel every lump or bump. They're very, very sensitive and they can't get comfortable. There's a heaviness in the limbs. The affected part could be cold because you're seeing that coldness in the body with the hot head, remember? Lots of joint and muscle pain. Often they can't walk erect and they may be stooped or going to one side. And lots of sore, aching muscles with influenza. Arnica can be a very good remedy for gout. Yeah. More limbs, you're seeing rheumatism, muscle strain, maybe writer's cramp from overexertion in the hands, pains in the arms, which they feel better hanging down. The veins on the hands or the forearms may be distended, so you can see them through the skin. Knee joints are weak and they may give way while standing, and there's an overall feeling of numbness that could be accompanied by some paralysis. Now on to the lungs. So we can see some asthma with arnica, but arnica isn't primarily an asthma remedy. So I would be looking at other remedies first before arnica. But where there's been some kind of trauma and then you're seeing asthma, I would think of arnica. There needs to have been some trauma somewhere, some injury. So asthma with inclination to move around because they're always trying to relieve their symptoms and they think movement's going to help, which it probably won't, but there's that restlessness about them and they want to move around. Asthma with sleeplessness before midnight, asphyxia neonatorum, and that's a very serious condition of a newborn baby that's had a difficult delivery and they've had some head trauma and they're not getting oxygen to the brain. So you're probably not going to see that, and hopefully in that situation the mum and baby would be in hospital and the doctors are going to treat that. So it's just for your information. dyspnea with hemoptysis. So there's some difficulty in breathing there. And there's short panting breath. And something that's very indicative of arnica is children lose their breath when angry. So if you see that, think of arnica. Back to the lungs, raw, sore feeling in the morning, pneumonia, approaching paralysis because, they're not getting enough oxygen. They can't expectorate. They must swallow whatever is loosened by coughing. So it's not a very productive cough with arnica, but that's a strange, rare and peculiar that they want to swallow whatever's come up. Bloody expectoration, so you're seeing whatever's coming up, maybe tinged with blood. Again, hemorrhages after mechanical injury, and offensive green purulent. Purulent is pus-filled, blood-streaked expectoration, and they could be spitting up black, thick, viscid blood, which is kind of sticky. It could be bright red, frothy, or mixed with some mucus or coagulant. Pneumothorax, that's a very serious condition, and it's a collection of air in the pleural cavity, and that is due to mechanical injury or pleurisy, which is an inflammation of the pleura after mechanical injury, or pleurodenia, which is a viral infection. So again, you could be seeing something going on in that lung area after a viral infection. Okay, male genitalia. Genitals feel bruised and swollen, swelling of the penis and scrotum, and you're going to see discoloration there, so bluish red in color or blue black. Scrotum hot and swollen after injury. Spermatic cords are painful, and the spermatic cords are what suspend the testes, so they would be complaining of some pain deep within their scrotum. And hematosole is a collection of blood around the testes. So again, you're going to see swelling, pain. Phimosis from friction. Now, phimosis is when they can't move the foreskin over the glands. So they can't move the foreskin over the head of the penis. And arnica can be helpful for that, but there is also some muscular stretching that they need to do. And so if you're going to advise your client to do that, I would swat up on YouTube so you can instruct them. Okay. Hydrocele caused by a bruise is a collection of fluid around the testes. Violent continuous erections, which make them wake often in sleep. They could have a seminal emission, just so through caress. So, yep. And impotence from sexual abuse or sexual excess. And erythesis of the scrotum is just a bacterial infection. So they could have an infection there, and arnica might be useful to treat that. Okay, some mouth symptoms. Soreness of the gums after teeth extraction. So a very good remedy after any kind of dental work. Their mouth will feel dry and thirsty. They could have a bitter taste in their mouth. They could have foul-smelling breath. Putrid, slimy feeling in their mouth, and a bad taste in their mouth after the operation, which could be due to the anesthetic. Okay. Emphysema of maxillary sinuses. So sinuses are here, and that is just basically a collection of pus. So they could be, and that can come down into the mouth. So bright red puffy forces, so that's here, a diminished amount of saliva, swallowing is prevented by a sort of nausea, as if the food wouldn't go down. They may have heat in the lips or burning in the lips. Mouth may feel hot and swollen, lips burn, swollen and crack, lower lip trembles whilst eating. Okay, nose. Bruised from above downwards, so that's due to some injury or trauma, swelling of the nose, nosebleeds after injury, nosebleeds after every fit of coughing, and you might see a dark blood, violent sneezing from overlifting, that is a strange, rare, and peculiar, and the nose feels sore and cold. So again, you're seeing that no, yeah, nose feels sore and cold. Yeah, that's just that. Postnasal drip. So they've got a drip coming down the back of their throat, catarrh of the sinuses, burning pain in typhoid fever. Typhoid fever is a bacterial fever, so sometimes arnica can be very useful after bacterial and viral fevers. And you see nosebleeds after typhoid fever, ulcerated nostrils, and again that collection of fluid in the sinuses. So you might see some perspiration with arnica, sour sweating at night, offensive sweat, cold sweat. They're transitory, so they come and they go, and it might be all over the body. Worse, so they feel worse while sweating. They could just have a partial sweat on the front of their body, and this sweat could be followed by faintness.